she's standing right here, and she's, oh gosh, and she's bearing gifts as well. Oh my gosh, I'm so privileged. Yeah, can I just say the gifts are Rennie's? Okay, guys, in terms of strategic leadership, yeah, I think we spoke last week about fantastic strategic leaders. And the truth is, when we think of strategic leaders, we think of Steve Jobs. And something that sprung to mind in a lecture on Monday was something that Steve Jobs gave as the vision for Apple. He said that Apple wanted to um, smash it, wanted to put a ding in the universe. And it's something that just came back to me, and I don't know why I didn't mention it to you guys on during last week when we spoke. Oh, and my cat is visiting as well now. This office is not ideal where it is because it's a thoroughfare, because my cat hasn't been fed and she thinks that she's going to get attention from me. So oh, I'm so unprofessional, guys. You need to report me to Allison immediately. So Steve Jobs, who is a classic example of a strategic leader, had this vision, and he used the term to put a ding in the universe. Any comments about that particular saying? Apple wants to put a ding in the universe. Do you think Apple put a ding in the universe? What difference did Apple make in the world? Is it ding worthy, the difference that Apple made in their entire lifespan, in particular in Jobs' lifespan? A ding. Don't you know what a ding is, boyo? A ding is a dent. A ding, you get a ding in your car when you've annoyed your girlfriend and she walks up to it and she gives it a good kick, or she hits it with a hammer. And I would imagine you annoy your girlfriend quite often. So imagine that your car has many dings in. Oh my word. Guys, a ding in the universe. Oh my word, Ransom. I wouldn't have asked that question. I think it is a company that had left a ding in the universe. I think the stuff they created, just the idea of the first standalone PC, the fact that prior to that, everything was linked to mainframe and everyone was reliant on IBM, and we were so heavily dependent on IBM, and the notion that we only needed one computer in the world, and all of a sudden we had a competitor to IBM. And then beyond that, their mobile technologies, in particular the iPod, the iPad, and the iPhone, and the future. It really is a company. If we had to take Steve Jobs out of the equation, that would leave a real emptiness in the world. And I think a ding was definitely left on the universe. Guys, so strategic leadership is about looking at the environment, looking at the future, trying to figure out a viable future for an organization. The truth is, the world is so insane. And if we look at what's happened in the last couple of months, in particular, in comparison to 20 years ago, 20 years ago, the divide was between religions and religious groups. I mean, the divide was between fundamental Christians and fundamental Islamic groups. At this stage, we see a new divide developing, and it's the East versus the West, but not the kind of East-West that we would have thought of in terms of the religious groups that we had 20 years ago. The East obviously now being China and Russia and North Korea and Turkey, and the South Africans put into that sort of new BRICS mix with Turkey, and I did say Turkey, my apologies, in there, and America, along with Canada and Australia and the EU and the UK, and with New Zealand in that mix. And we see this divide widening, and there's definitely this new Cold War happening in the world. And I think it's going to be very interesting as a business where to focus, because prior to this, we had this significant drive towards globalization, and we see so many anti-globalization moves. And to try and do business in this requires a special brain, requires somebody who is incredibly astute in terms of reading the environment, understanding the environment, creating a vision, and then positioning the organization. Guys, so if we look at what we've just said and summarize it as this, have a glance at those very quickly. I think there's nothing dramatic. I think the essence of what I've just said is captured in those comments there. I think also the key thing is about the attitude that you have. I think there has to be an attitude towards society. Guys, what is the triple bottom line? What does the triple bottom line entail? And at this level, you need to know this offhand, off by heart. What is the triple bottom line? As a measure of success, as a measure of sustainable competitive advantage. What is the triple bottom line? Oh my goodness me, the silence perturbs me. I'm going to ask names so I can deduct marks for the assignment already. Joanne, triple bottom line.
Sure. To be honest, I haven't a clue.
Oh my word, minus 10%. Clearly, Joanne.
That's not fair because it gives everybody else time to Google.
Oh, you guys can't cheat and then use a bloody paraphrasing tool. Mads, triple bottom line. I'm crying into my
stand corrected because I stand corrected. It's been a while, but I think it's that. I think it's that focus where. I think it's that reporting focus where companies need to spread their focus equally on profits, but then I think it's the environment and this corporate social responsibility as well. So focus needs to be shared equally amongst all three, not just on profits. If I'm correct, I don't know.
That's getting there. I love how Joanne immediately throws everyone else under the bus. Joanne, I hope you're happy with yourself right now.
I'm an old hat at this, eh?
Yeah, no. Under the bus with some dynamite. Guys, remember, and the sad thing is we've moved beyond the triple bottom line. We're now at the quadruple bottom line. So this worries me immensely. And society is a key part of the quadruple bottom line. So the triple bottom line, oh my heavens, I'm crying into my cappuccino here, is people, planet, profit, guys. People to focus on social issues, on societal issues. Planet, the focus on the natural environment. And then obviously the focus on profit, which looks after the interests of your shareholders. Guys, to also then say that the fourth P now is purpose. So we live in this world where people talk about this crisis of ethics. And when we have this crisis of ethics, we deal with issues where there are many ways of making money, and people don't really care how they make money anymore. And to do it in an ethical way where we maintain ethical standards appears to be more difficult every year. So the fourth P is purpose, but it really is about governance. Yeah, people, planet, profit, boyo. And the fourth P is purpose. And that's the way to remember it. So when we talk about society, it's the relevance of the natural environment. It is the relevance of social issues, and nowadays the relevance of dealing with the importance of shareholders and looking after the interests of shareholders. And remember, guys, we have the King reports, and all of you will be aware of the King reports. Who is aware of the King reports? What do the King reports address? I won't ask names, otherwise Jane's going to be typing frantically now. The King report.
Doesn't it just governance?
Yeah, it's governance, and it's the expectations from boards of directors. Yeah, it's corporate governance. It's the expectations from from boards of directors. Also, we have what is not so new nowadays, the Companies Act and adjustments in terms of the Companies Act. So we see significant changes in terms of what we expect from business in terms of society. And then obviously the core focus of the company. I think one of the challenges is trying to figure out what your core competencies are and finding a way of making those core competencies relevant and keeping in step with the external environment. And then that balance between stability and change. And the two things that we always try and focus on is, gosh, I don't know, somebody's talking about submitting an exam. I'm not sure what that means, guys. I'm pretty sure they mean the assignment. But the key thing in terms of, sorry, hold on a second, I'm waiting for Paint to open. There are two concepts that businesses have to deal with. If we think of the organization over here, and we think of the environment over here, and I think we spoke about this already, there are two elements from a strategic perspective we're concerned about. There is strategic fit, which is that moment in time where the organization perfectly matches the realities of the environment. And then strategic flexibility, where the organization essentially, through its dynamic capabilities, constantly match the external environment. So as the environment changes, this organization maintains strategic fit. And we've had examples of organizations that haven't been able to do that. So the focus there from a stability and change perspective, stability when we have strategic fit, and then change in terms of strategic flexibility. And then that unknown, risky, and the sort of relative ability that we have in predicting the future. Guys, I don't know how we predict the future nowadays. It's very difficult. So, yeah, when we think of strategic leadership, there are three things: absorptive capacity, adaptive capacity, managerial wisdom. The way we look at these, why do I think we've done this? Gosh, I lectured too much, clearly. There are three things. Why do I think we've not done this, have we, guys?
No, we haven't.
Okay, goodness me, I teach too much, clearly. Well, I'm having a moment of deja vu. What the hell did I teach last night then? Okay, guys, so if we look at the human brain, and I'm not going to attempt to teach the human brain or to try and draw the human brain. Sorry, clearly I started drinking too early today. But if we think of the human brain like a computer hard drive, and The old hard drives were these round silver discs. That's not a round disc. And they had these little, they looked like needles. If you remember the old vinyl record players, they had this little needle and this, well, we'll call it a spindle, that arm that went out. The old hard drives, and I think you guys might have seen the older hard drives. If you broke it open, it had this beautiful silver disc inside, the spindle, and this, they called it a read-write head. So whenever a strategic leader in this instance encounters a thing, a person, an event, everyone does this, guys. Every time we encounter something in the environment, we create a theory about that person, thing, and event. And that theory is literally like going into Word and typing your own view on that. Now, everyone has a theory about everything. Everyone has a theory about everything. We have theories about what makes the world tick. We have theories about people. We have theories literally about anything we can imagine. Let's start. What is your theory about our next elections? Who wants to share their theory about our next elections? Let's rather do this. What is your theory about voting in South Africa? Because your generation doesn't bloody well vote.
You know, I feel sorry. Almost feels like it's a waste of time because from previous elections, it doesn't feel like anything ever changes, and it just appears that things get worse or better just before elections, and then after that nothing ever changes. So you almost feel like it is a complete waste of time, but it's not, because if we all felt like that, then nothing would
Exactly,
ever
Joanne.
change.
Exactly. People lost their lives to give people the right to vote. So, yeah, Edel, that's also right. I think my problem with all of this is the choices are so bad. For me, voting in South Africa is like voting for your favorite serial killer. The options are just so bad. It's not, yeah, man, maybe it's too many parties, but it's the choices. You know, it's like voting for your favorite serial killer. Oh, I like Jeffrey Dahmer. No, I don't like Jeffrey Dahmer. I like Ted Bundy this year. The choices are so awful. Rather vote. Yeah, no, but those are decent choices. My goodness me. I mean, it's like voting for your favorite wasting disease. Oh, I like Ebola this year. Ebola looks like a good choice. The choices are that awful. I mean, let's look at our favorite wasting disease. Ebola. I like Ebola. It really is that awful to vote. And so my theory is, goodness me, the choices are so awful. But, and I'm going to take Joanne's comment. Now, let's say Joanne votes and there are real changes. Most people, if they have, and I'm going to just quickly go into absorptive and adaptive capacity, they would go, because her current theory is, what a waste of time. If she has absorptive and adaptive capacity, she'll take the new information in and she will rewrite her theory about voting, because that's adaptive capacity. And it's important to have adaptive capacity, because if you don't have adaptive capacity, you become irrelevant. So the key thing is to mix with that, into that managerial wisdom. Now, wisdom, yeah, people believes, geez, I can't even talk. My grammar is shocking, my tenses, and my grammar is really bad. But people believe that that wisdom comes with age. I think there is some truth to it, but I also think wisdom comes with experience. I think wisdom comes with living through things, and age doesn't always equate to wisdom. But there is a sense of understanding and knowing without really knowing why you know, in terms of decision making and in terms of making some sort of difference in the world. And you mix those together, you get a great strategic leader. If we think of companies that didn't have absorptive and adaptive and managerial wisdom, give me companies that essentially got stuck in the past and just simply didn't move on when the world was changing. Because absorptive capacity is taking in new information. Adaptive capacity is essentially taking that information, changing your definitions about the world, and then adjusting the organization. And managerial wisdom is knowing how to adjust. Yeah, spot on, Nokia. Yeah, Firefox very good at that, actually. Firefox is really good at. Are you saying they're not good at that, Mads? I find Mozilla Firefox very good. Nokia spot on. They bloody were very useless at that. Blockbuster, Mr. Video. I think a classic example of a company that was really good at that was Netflix. Netflix started off as a company that would mail you videos. Oh, Musica is awful. Oh my word. I don't even know if there are still Musica stores. Joanne, stop putting up your hands. Just talk, Joanne.
That's
Go.
nothing to do. So
No, there's no politeness. Do you think I'm polite?
so if you take a company like Blockbuster, for example, so it doesn't matter what they would have done, their business their business themselves in DVDs would have died a natural death anyway. So
But
how would they
sorry,
have
Joanne.
adopted without changing the business model completely?
No, but you're right. But can I also just say, Netflix, prior to what they are now, what they did is they. Oh, I'm so popular, guys. You know, when you have my looks and my great hair and my charm, people just don't leave you alone, man. Goodness me. So difficult to be humble sometimes. Sorry, my phone sounds like a bloody disco here. But if we think of Netflix, Netflix, absolutely, but Netflix essentially did what Blockbuster and what Mr. Video did. Netflix is um, couriered videos and DVDs to people to watch. People would then watch and then courier the videos and DVDs back. How is that different to Blockbuster? That was Netflix's business. Yet they saw the world of online technology where Blockbuster didn't. Sorry to interrupt, Joanne. Sorry. Any comments on that, Joanne? The
Yeah,
business
no,
model became dated.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. The I just think that the whole model. So yes, you can adapt, but then you change the entire business because you've gone from making things better in the company to changing to completely. You don't even provide that service. But I hear what you're saying. It's still providing the movies, but on a different platform. So
Yeah,
it's
it
so
is,
they
yeah.
changed their model from having shops and all of that. They could have gone online with a million other people. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think sometimes businesses just have a lifespan, and
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But it's also that lack of adaptive capacity. It's the lack of adaptive capacity. Yeah. Yeah, DSTV streaming. Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that people don't know, and if I haven't told you, if I have, I apologize, but the person who invented digital photography worked at Kodak. So the engineer that invented digital photography was employed by Kodak. The actual technology that destroyed Kodak was invented by someone who worked for Kodak. Take a moment to digest that. You create a technology that you take to your managers. Your managers say, rubbish. We want to stay with spool films because people will always want a spool film. And the idea of digital photography is nonsense. People always want photo albums and they always want spools. They always want their photos printed and they want to keep their memories in photo albums. I don't know how, Boyo. Let me just say that again. The person who destroyed Kodak, who created the technology that destroyed Kodak, worked for Kodak. Any comments? That is just ridiculous. So absorptive and adaptive capacity, there's no adaptive capacity. The guy comes to you and says, here is the future of technology. And you go, no, 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 no. I mean, some of you might even be too young to know what a film spool is. Who knows? Who doesn't know what a film spool is? Joanne, you're laughing. I think we have some youngsters here. Imagine how old. Paul, that's minus 30%. Yeah, I don't like young people. Yeah, there it is, boy. Oh, you can still buy this stuff. No. No, you've already lost 30%. You can bugger off, boy. You've lost 30%. Oh my gosh. You can buy this stuff. Gosh, Edel, did you want to say something?
I was going to say, being quite young, not, but the prices of these spools is horrendous. So this will become exclusive. Like,
Joanna, it is.
yeah, I think it's going to be exclusive. It's going to be like your gramophones, where we've moved so digital that it is going to be exclusive. You know what I mean? But
Exclusive, yeah.
yeah. Mm.
In terms of those generic strategies, this would be real focus strategy. Oh my gosh. Oh, very cool, Joanne. Very, very cool.
Joanne, I've got a few
Yeah.
cameras if you would like them, if you can buy the spools.
No, thank you. The kinds of photos I take need to be deleted very quickly.
No, you're making us feel very old. Stop now.
Listen here, I am ancient, guys. I am double everyone's age in this class. Trust
I
me.
doubt it. I doubt it.
I don't think so. I want to know how old they are.
Trust me, Edel. I am not old. At my 21st, there was this massive boat. There was this guy with this big beard, and for some reason, he had two of every animal on this boat. I don't know what he was doing. There was a bloody lot of water. It was a big pool party. So that's how old I am. And if you don't know what it is, guys, I'm sorry. Then you're going to need to go read the Bible, guys. And then obviously the addition, but the discernment is to be able to see the changes in the environment and then to take the right action at the right time. You don't want to jump the gun, but you also don't want to be locked out. The moment lockout occurs, you're too late. It's that moment where you are too late. Oh, I love that idea. Guys, in terms of management, yeah, I'm not going to go through all of these. Time and motion studies, the old style when we used to have production lines and we used to figure out how long a thing should take, and we create a moving production line. We still have time and motion studies where we measure the speed at which specific tasks need to be performed, and we look at the way we position ourselves and the way we move our arms and hands, etc. Those of you that want to see maximum efficiency, just go Red Bull Racing pit stop if you want to see how in Formula One they change 4 tires in under 2 seconds. So those of you that watch Formula One, go and watch, well, just watch on a Sunday, or just go to YouTube and go Red Bull Racing tire change during race, and you will see what efficiency is. Now, I think the record is something like 1.98 seconds to change four wheels and tires, something ridiculous. Guys, in terms of management ideas, the Gantt chart, I'm not going to go through that. You guys know, if you've done anything on project management, there's nonsense about the old style planning, organizing, leading, controlling. The Henry Fayol's principles, remember, these are very, very traditional old style principles of management. We still use a lot of them. Having said that, a lot of this is disappearing. These kinds of principles are still around in terms of your more traditional government type organizations. I'm not going to go through it. You did this in first, second, and third year. I really am not going to discuss that. I really am not. Guys, and then, yeah, Max Weber, the idea of different forms of authority, legitimate based on your position, traditional, the sort of autocratic, and then the charismatic, the kind of, and I don't want to use this term, let me rather just say Richard Branson, because I don't want to go into politics now, but we have a lot of charismatic individuals in politics that get support that, my goodness me, they shouldn't get whatsoever. I really want to move to the modern stuff, guys. Yeah, you can have a look at Weber and some of the stuff. The great man theory, I just want to spend a couple of seconds on that. We have some real examples of the great man theory. The one is this individual that is above the law nowadays, and also essentially thinks, that he is Russia. He thinks he is the leader of the world. Comments on that piece of human excrement. Are you calling me an old folk, boy? Minus 40% ransom. You're going to suffer, boy. I'm going to make you bleed from your eyes. Any comments about that human excrement?
Yeah, I don't know in this day and age how he's allowed to continue as he has continued. You've gone through history and we've seen these kind of guys and what the impact it has on the world, and yet for some reason or somehow he's allowed to continue
and get away with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and the way that he kills his opponents. I mean, the way that oh shucks, then I mentioned the guy's name earlier in class today. He does want to build the old Soviet Union, and I mean, it's not going to happen, but no one wants him. No one seems to want to stop him. What is the guy in charge of that? He took the plane out of the sky. Oh gosh, my brain is a little bit there at the moment. Prigozhin, I mean, Prigozhin basically took him on, and a month later, Prigozhin's plane fell from the sky. It's yeah. Prigozhin, that's right. Prigozhin. Guys, my favorite, I don't know if anyone's ever seen the Onion News, and I might have mentioned this. We see an example of the great man theory in terms of this person's media and his and I don't think anyone really wants to see this, but this is the kind of propaganda that is used to promote the great man theory. It's always this idiot on a horse, on a tundra, shooting. It's without a shirt on. It's all about the big man, the great man, because for Russia to be successful, you know, you need this big Russian bear type individual. So yeah, this burly. Who won? That's a president of a country, and it's about the pictures that are taken, and it's the media that is shared. And oh, look at that! He's got a fish there, guys. We're so impressed now. I have this warm sensation. Sorry, I might have just peed myself, but I'm sorry. I'm being recorded. There's no one to challenge him. And then my favorite is the Onion News did a comparison between the size of this oak's pecs and Barack Obama's pecs. Barack Obama. Yeah, no. No, there's a mock of Donald Trump on a horse with him somewhere. Barack Obama at beach, and the Onion News did a comparison about the size of Barack Obama's pecs versus this oak's pecs. So they did this mock-up. So there's Barack at the beach, and it's this comparison about which president has the bigger pecs. And it is such a sideshow. I mean, I revere this human being. I think Barack Obama is one of the greatest leaders ever. Yeah, human excrement with nukes. I mean, it's actually quite scary, guys. I don't have much to say about that individual, but yeah. But the ripoffs continue. So the great man theory, guys, is this time of heroes. The problem is, in the time of insanity, that and the reality is we live in times of insanity. This great man thing still exists. And then, yeah, the managerial framework. I know this is one of your questions, guys. So essentially, we need to look at how much control versus how much flexibility does the organization focus internally, or is it concerned about staying in step with the external environment? And we looked at the managerial model as this one there. And what it does, it gives us different cultures. And the discussion of these cultures, and I know that you guys are submitting later tonight, is that correct? Or are you submitting tomorrow? Guys, remember, I don't track submission dates. So here, collaborate. This is really an shucks wits. Okay, this is really a culture of working together, making sure that people learn and develop all the time. Control is really about getting things done, but really from a compliance perspective, with the kind of auditing firm type place. Here is about profitability and doing it with a vision, getting people to buy into that vision, and giving some sort of structure. And this is the kind of organization I like to work in. It's about innovation, it's about freedom, it's the Google type organization, and it's about constantly being light on your feet. And you want to almost be in that kind of organization, and it's that kind of organization that gets the most out of people. Guys, I think you know the difference between managers and leaders by now. In terms of managers, I think we know that their power is positional. Leaders' power is now personal, and in terms of modern expectations, you need to be both a leader and a manager. Leadership is always about change. It's always about adapting. It's always about staying relevant. And then you can see some of the distinctions there. I'm not going to go through those, guys. All of this stuff you did in undergrad. I know that I'm flying through. You did this in second year. You did that in first year as well. So I'm not going through that. I want to just chat about this one. This is a significant theory, in my opinion. This is a theory that signifies the importance of listening in these management, employees, leadership, follower type relationships. And I want you guys to think of your own role as a leader, as you in your own role of interacting or as interacting with leaders. And it talks about the significance of listening. And it talks about this phenomenon here as listening being the extraordinarization of the mundane. It talks about those moments because leaders are so busy, because leaders have so many balls in the air at the same time, that when they interact with followers, that moment where they spend with someone is essentially seen as the most significant moment in that person's day. And every time they interact with a different person, that person believes that, my goodness, I am a very important and special person, Mads. Yeah, and obviously, Mads, and I think you get this right. It's that moment where you think, I am special in the eyes of this individual. I am important to this organization. I am a valuable member, and in this team, I make a significant contribution. I am worth this person's time. Please have a look at that specific bit I highlighted there. Tell me what it means to you, the extraordinarization of the mundane. I do struggle to pronounce that. Maybe I'm a nerd and maybe I get excited about the wrong things, guys. And yes, I am a nerd. Please understand that.
No, I think you're right. It is that you can see the impact. So like Madeleine, I am manager, and I've got a direct report of 20 and an indirect report of 400, and
yeah,
that it's not necessarily the 20 managers, but it's those other people within your space, in your work, that you spend that time with, that you, when you go in there, you know, you always say, how's things, but it's not, and they answer you, it's like, no, how are you? How's your family? How are your kids? And make that person feel like at that moment in time, they are the most important person in your space.
Yeah.
And that makes the world of difference when you are trying to manage or lead a team.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing with this as well is that I think the biggest aspect, though,
Matt.
is that the people you manage your team. Yes, I'm saying that I think the biggest thing that comes with this, though, is the people that you manage or the team you manage can pick up very quickly when you're doing it as a tick box exercise, as opposed to when you are genuinely invested. And I think when you are genuinely invested, you can see a much more successfully driven team than those managers who do it just because it's needed as their role.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. For me, and I'm going to use the wrong word, but and I apologize for using this word, but it's almost that intimacy of that moment. And I know intimacy is the wrong word and it conjures up the wrong image, but it is almost that intimate moment that you have with somebody, that they are the everything in that moment. And I apologize for intimate because that's not the right term. But to me, it means the same thing. It is that kind of intimate moment where nothing in the world essentially exists at that moment in time. And I think we need to understand the value of that because we underestimate the importance of that in our lives, in our interactions with our children, in our interactions with our colleagues, in our interactions with our friends, in our interactions with anyone. It's so lost on people. And I suffer from ADHD, and I think that I've grown up in a different time. I would have been on Ritalin from the first moment, and I still have a bit of ADD. And I'm bloody old, guys. I really am a geriatric, and for me, it's difficult. I struggle. It's part of my daily routine to remind myself that I need to focus, that I need to shut up, that I need to allow someone to talk. And I think we need to remember this little bit tonight. Any other comments on that one? Is intimate the right word?
I'm not sure about your word, but I think that it's what I find is difficult, especially with the space of, cell phones and iPads and so on, is that you can have a, or you can see it all the time. You see people having conversations with people at the same time they're busy on their phone, and it
Yeah, oh, it
completely,
irritates me.
yeah,
It irritates me.
and it
Can I
completely
tell
misses
you?
this phenomenon that you're describing. It misses this intimacy, as you say, as you describe it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. Yeah, honestly, for me, my cell phone is the bane of my existence. I wake up on Monday morning, I think it was, or Tuesday morning. I woke up to 55 messages on my cell phone, 55 different messages overnight. Because I try not to look at my messages after 6 o'clock at night because, I need a life separate from bloody work. But it's that thing because people live on their phones. It's beyond ridiculous. Any other comments on that one, guys, before we sign off? Guys, thank you so much for attending. We'll start with learning unit 2, and yeah, go,
So can
man.
I just ask, not to be that person, but can we maybe next week's lesson just go through assignment 2 because it's due on
Yeah,
3rd October and it being a group project, obviously there's a lot more that goes into that if it's possible.
yeah. Please remind me as I get on because I will forget. Just remind me. Okay. And
Thank you.
please be that person because truthfully, I am guided by you guys. I wish I could tell you that I plan for classes. I don't plan for bugger all. Okay. I don't look at my slides beforehand. I can't teach this without looking at my slides. I don't take it on. So you tell me what you want to do. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Please have a good week. I'll see most of you or some of you in 30 minuten. Cheers, cheers, everyone.